Cootehill and Minister, you're very welcome to the Chamber this morning, and I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today. Today I would like to talk to you about Annalee Respite Centre in Cootehill, County Cavan. Minister, this time last year, or thereabouts, Annalee Respite Centre was forced to close its doors due to an oil leak in the building. So for 12 months now, there has been no respite facilities available for families in both Monaghan and Cavan as a result of that. And I'm sure, Minister, as you can appreciate, that situation is causing great hardship for many families in both counties. And I suppose what the issue of Annalee House highlights and shines a light on is a chronic lack of childcare facilities available to both counties for families in both Monaghan and Cavan. And it also highlights the chronic need that there is for a separate facility, childcare facility for children. So ideally we should have a childcare facility available for adults and a separate facility available for children. Now, we all know that being a carer is a tough job. It's 24/7, 52 weeks of the year job. These people are totally dedicated to those that they look after, many times at an expense of damaging their own health and their own well-being. And surely it's not too much to ask of society that these family carers would be given a short break for themselves, a chance to recharge their batteries, to take a wee break and have a bit of time to themselves. I think families in Cavan and Monaghan deserve that right as much as any other part of the country. And as I said at the outset, Minister, for the ordinary man in the street, it's difficult to understand why a simple oil leak in a building, 12 months on, hasn't been rectified. So people are asked the question, why is it taking so long to put this building back in commission again? And why have the people of Cavan and Monaghan, the carers in Cavan and Monaghan, not been given an interim facility to accommodate their needs? And simply, I think, and I'm sure you'd agree, that's simply not good enough. If this was a private sector, if it was a business, if it was your family home, Minister, and there was an oil leak in it, I'm sure you wouldn't be out of it for over 12 months, and nobody should be. And clearly there's questions to be asked here, and I'm hoping maybe this morning that you might shine a light on an answer to some of those questions. Number one, when will Annalee House be up and running again? And secondly, what is the story with this interim facility that we've been promised? And when can the carers expect that facility to be available to them? And we all agree that carers do an excellent job, and I think it's the least we can do as a society is provide them with a short break out of their full-time role. Thank
you, Cootehill. I want to thank Senator Gallagher for raising this matter on behalf of my colleague, Minister Finian McGrath, who is unfortunately not able to be here. But I'll certainly communicate the Senator's questions to him, and if I don't have all the answers here, I'll ask him to provide them directly to the Senator. This is a very important issue, and it gives me an opportunity on behalf of Minister McGrath to outline the position in relation to the provision of respite services in counties Cavan and Monaghan. This Government's ongoing priority is the safeguarding of vulnerable people in the care of the health service. The Government is committed to providing services and supports for people with disabilities which will empower them to live independent lives. Respite services are an important part of the range of services supporting people with disabilities and their families. As part of the ongoing ongoing service provision, this year the HSE will provide over 182,500 respite nights and 32,662 day respite sessions to families in need right across the country. The need for increased respite services is acknowledged, and the HSE continues to work with all service providers to explore various ways of responding to this need in line with the budget available. In 2018, there was a significant improvement in respite. An additional €10 million was provided to fund 12 new respite houses. That's one in each HSE CHO area, plus an additional 3 houses in the Greater Dublin area to respond to the very high demand for respite from this area. All 12 houses are now fully providing additional respite for families that need it. With respect to respite services in the Cavan Monaghan area, the Minister is informed by the HSE that respite services in Cavan Monaghan disability services are currently provided as follows. Annalee Respite Centre caters for both adults and children with moderate to severe intellectual disability and associated medical conditions. It has the capacity to provide 910 adult respite beds per year. Unfortunately, due to an environmental issue at the centre, the HSE is unable to facilitate respite at this time. However, a new proposed property for respite in Cavan town has been identified. All documentation for the new proposed property has respite has been submitted to HIQA. The HSE is waiting for confirmation of registration from HIQA. Steadfast House Respite Centre Cavan Cross is currently facilitating service users from Annalee View Respite Centre in Cootehill during their closure and will provide overnight respite to individuals as soon as possible. Steadfast House Respite Centre provides 840 respite bed nights per annum. Cavan Monaghan Disability Services currently offer a day service at the weekends for children and adults. Additional home support is available upon request, and alternative respite is being explored. St Christopher's Disability Centre Cavan on average provides 730 adult respite beds per year. The Minister has been advised that operational capacity at St Christopher's is operating as normal. The Minister wants to assure the House that Government is committed to providing a range of accessible respite care supports for people with a disability and support their families as best as possible.
Thank you, Minister, and I thank you for the response, and I appreciate that this is not your brief, and I suppose it's disappointing that Minister McGrath was not in a position to be here himself this morning to address this issue, but I understand he may have other commitments in that regard. I suppose the two outstanding questions that I have remain, Minister, and I appreciate it if you would pass those on my behalf to Minister McGrath, and that is, can he provide us with a date as to when Annalee House will be up and running again? I think it's imperative that we get that, and this matter is treated with more urgency. And also the interim facility in Cavan for children, for the interim facility that was due to be commissioned due to the fact that Annalee House is not available. What is the current situation with that? And finally, the need for an additional a separate service, respite service for children. I think it's been promised, and Minister McGrath has indicated that he's looking into that, and perhaps you might pass that on for a progress report on that. And just, I suppose, suffice for me to say, Minister, I would appreciate if this particular issue was given more urgency than it has been to date, and I think it's the least that the carers of both Cavan and Monaghan deserve.
Thanks very much again. Minister McGrath is very much aware of the importance of access to planned respite, which ensures that people with disabilities receive opportunities to socialise and facilitates families to receive a break from caring, preserve the family unit and provide stability. Respite services are an important part of the range of services supporting people with disabilities and their families, and is crucial in helping to reduce family stress. Short breaks can also provide an opportunity for individuals to meet new people, widening their social circle and gain new experiences. The need for increased respite services acknowledged, and the HSE continues to work with all service providers to explore various ways of responding to this need in line with the budget available. The additional funding provided last year for alternative respite services continued in 2019 and remains a high priority for the HSE. Every effort is being made to support families as best as possible. Joint working is currently active between Annalee's service and the second respite service for adults with an intellectual disability within Cavan Monaghan, Steadfast House, Carrick across County Monaghan, to provide overnight respite to individuals as soon as possible. And I'll certainly pass on the Senator's queries to the Minister and ask him to respond as soon as possible with the answers. Thank you very much.
Minister. Thank you, Senator, for your brevity.